Been through struggles, had to conquer them all. We rise and give back to answer the call. We measure success by the lives that we shape. Making an impact, we're raising the stakes.
Brought to you by Kornit Connections, bringing the print industry together for a higher purpose.
Welcome to episode 2 of Raising the Stakes podcast, where we explore entrepreneurs' rise to success, their inspiration, their struggles along the way, and then how they use their businesses to give back to the community to make the world a better place. Today, I'm joined by a friend, colleague, Ryan Moor. If you don't know him, you probably haven't been in the printed apparel space for very long because he is all over the place with incredible businesses, incredible vision, and really is making a tremendous impact. But before we get started, I really want to tell you how Ryan and I became friends out the gate. You guys know me for championing disability inclusion in the print industry, a passion of mine. And once I started speaking, because there wasn't that many people who were inclusive in the print industry, people were very quick to tell me every other person who had disabled employees working for them. And Ryan was a trailblazer. He, for years, had an employee at his business, Ryanette, that he had done some web series on, and we connected immediately and really bonded on that. And Ryan's also been supportive along the journey. I remember my first big panel that I put on at Printing United was the Print Industry Unites on Disability Inclusion. We had Ryan, and we also had some other industry leaders. And one of the beautiful things about it was competitors. I mean, we're sitting here doing a podcast that's sponsored by Kornit Connections, and obviously you'll hear more about Ryan's affiliation with Rock, but that day was the exact same. We had Jekka Glassman from Kornit, we had Ross from Rock, no longer with Rock, but at the time. And it was a beautiful thing to see industry leaders come together with a shared vision of making a change and not caring whether there was competitors. This podcast and Kornit Connections is bigger than any individual company. This is about this entire industry uniting to shed a light on the positive things that we're doing, to inspire other people to do positive things so that we can make a difference and be a leader for other industries to follow. Ryan, thank you for joining me.
Jed, yeah, thanks for having me, man.
Wonderful location too.
Yeah, how beautiful is this? We get to sit up on the Sundance stage that Robert Redford built.
I mean, we are filming at ThreadX right now, which Ryan is one of the co-producers of, and we are sitting on the Sundance stage where the first Sundance Film Festival was actually done. So this is a pretty epic location. There's a lot of history here. It's also a beautiful event and a beautiful location. So yeah, this is pretty awesome. There's definitely some cool nostalgia and things going on here. So let's jump right in. Tell me how you got in this industry and start from the very beginning.
Well, I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. Ever since I was a little kid, I remember the first gig I ever tried to make money on was going around and playing the Jesus Loves Me kazoo for my neighbors. And I was like, I just put out the little case, the kazoo case, and did, and then I was like, they're like, what do we do? I'm like, you gotta get my money, of course. And that turned into more like yard work, and my dad taught me how to catch moles. And I wanted to do that because my uncle, I remember very vividly at a very young age, at 28 years old, he retired from his corporate job at Microsoft. He was in Amway. He built a really good Amway business in Seattle. And he would get stuck on the 425, I think it is, or the 405 up there. And the first day he retired, he water skied past the traffic that was just sitting in Seattle, just going to the monotony. It's like, that's what I want to do when I grow up. So that always caught me. And so it changed from, doing odd jobs. Me and my friends, we actually came down here to Utah a few times to go to Amway conferences by ourselves at 16. Drove, our parents let us drive 12 hours down here to go to an Amway conference to learn from other entrepreneurs. Just always impressed by that. Then I got into music, and then I don't think there's a better way to learn entrepreneurship than being in a band and trying to sell your music. You sell an audience differently every single night. Sometimes you're playing for just people that do not want to hear you because you're way too pop punk for their punk, dive bar. Or sometimes you're playing for two people, sometimes you could be playing for a record producer. And so it really taught me a lot about hustle. It taught me a lot about stage presence, a lot about speaking, a lot about not being afraid. And then, of course, bands need t-shirts, so it got me in the t-shirt industry.
It's incredible how many people got their start in the t-shirt industry because they were in a band.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, I need somebody to make t-shirts for me. It's like a whole generation of rockers, independent rockers, who are such a large percentage of this business. It's pretty cool.
It is a punk rock business for sure. Like rock and roll runs deep in the t-shirt eulogy. And it was really, t-shirt industry is fascinating to just research. And I was meeting with Renia, who you spoke with here. Her building was built. She's putting a whole history of apparel together, like in her space. It'll be kind of a museum. Her building was built the first year that the t-shirt was ever invented was 1913. 1913.
You learn something new every day.
Yeah, sailors cut it off. The Navy officially made the t-shirt a thing. People were wearing versions of it before, but that was the first time. And then decoration came after that during the First War and stuff like that. But this industry was really changed through rock and music and band shirts. And we got to be a part of that. We learned how to screen print our own band shirts. I learned in high school. I was very fortunate. My teacher, I failed the screen printing course, which was part of home ec. It was the last year. Talk about like giving back. And we do a lot of work with schools and Skills USA because this has been ripped out of schools. I was the last year my teacher taught that class.
So hold on, go back. Why'd you fail the class?
Well, back then we had to cut it out of Rubylith. So you would actually hand cut with an X-Acto knife and then adhere it with adhesive, like a lacquer thinner. You'd melt this Rubylith onto a stencil to create your screen. So not very good with my hands, and I just cut it. I messed up the stencil, cut my hand, I had a nurse. Like I didn't need stitches. But my friend made a t-shirt, and I remember the shirt, he said, because that girl sign out on the bathroom out there, he put that on a shirt, just a sign. He stenciled it out, and it was like, girls. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty sweet. So I remember that, and then when I needed the shirts for our first show, I go back to my teacher, his name was Revis Boline. Like, dude, can you help me make some shirts? We had Speedball Inks, Riley Hopkins Press, and I took time that time. We made our first graphic. The band's name was Not Long After. And I stenciled it and I screen printed it, and I was like, dude, wow, that's awesome. And for the next 5 years, we did that, just very DIY. I didn't know anything about screen print. I didn't know what off contact was. I didn't know what first time I tried to use Plastisol inks, I tried to wash them out with water. And I'm like, well, this is never coming out. Like, I didn't know there was ink cleaners. I didn't know how to cure an ink. We cured the ovens. All of our shirts would wash out. So
hold on, go back. You were curing your shirts in your oven?
Yeah, my mom's oven. Yeah.
And my friend, did that go over with her?
Oh, my parents they were so like, I commandeered their van. They let me tour and go all over the country. They were very supportive. I was very rebellious. It comes from a very just religious family, and I'm definitely, I would say, believe in this. I'm spiritual, but I'm not religious anymore. I don't go to church, but I'm very spiritual because of that raising. But they just let me go my own way.
And when in your band, what were you playing?
I played guitar at first, and then I met my now brother-in-law, who's a much better guitarist than I am, and a better, on our first two albums, I wrote everything, sang everything. The last album that we produced was in Atlanta, and I sang backups on one song and played the bass for one song. So in the band, I played bass and then sang some of the songs, mostly backup.
Very cool.
Yeah, T-shirts fueled us for touring. We had a couple record label deals, but we didn't make any money off of it. And so we fueled tours by selling T-shirts. And I thought that if our band, one of my friend's bands came to me and said, hey, it's pretty sweet what you're doing. Can I get some T-shirts? Can you show me how to do it? I was like, well, yeah, every once in a while I would sell to other bands, Yeah, sure, $10 a shirt. You can sell them for $20 or $7.50 if you go to Fruit of the Loom shirt, a little cheaper shirt. And he asked for me to show him how to do it and like sell him this press made out of wood. and became my first customer. So after that, I was like, maybe some other people. Put that press. I took a picture when I sold it to them. I staged it in front of my parents' front door and put it on eBay. It sold. Another one sold. Another one sold. And eventually that led into starting Ryonet, which is now screenprinting.com, in 2004. And starting to sell.
So hold on, to 2004. And how long had you been doing them yourselves for the band?
I started screen printing in 97. Our band started in 98.
Okay.
So I think about 6 years of just DIY really shitty screen printing.
Awesome.
And everyone asked me, like, why didn't you become a decorator? And I was like, I was a very bad screen printer. That is why.
You failed the class in high school.
Yeah, that is absolutely why. I remember the first guy I hired from the industry, and he was making a video. I was like, he raised the screen off, and he printed it, and it looked amazing. I was like, oh, you have to have a space between the screen and the ink to it release and look good. And my mind was blown. So I've got to hire and work with now, like my partners, Brett and Tom and Brian at Made Lab. They are the best decorators. I geek out about it now. I love teaching people, and I love learning more myself because I'm learning right along with them, but I didn't back then. And I actually didn't love t-shirts because they were pretty, even our band shirts, we would print them. We weren't good printers, so the prints didn't look good. And B, like, you would just go get the cheapest shirts. They were Fruit Looms back then. And it was just rough, and I would always just go find a vintage shirt, a Motley Crue shirt or a Van Halen shirt or AC/DC shirt, like at a vintage store, and wear that on tour. Never wore our own shirts.
Okay. So, Ryonet, but let's get into a little bit more detail of starting that, right? Because you're taking a jump from making these things and selling them on eBay. Like, walk me through sort of the transition to this becoming like an official business and how you started to scale it.
My dad, being in Amway, my dad was also in Amway, not successful like my uncle and my friend's parents, but he was in Amway, and he quit after a while. And then after that, he did like tried to do real estate. He's a medical professional. My whole family's medical. And I was like, Daddy, you're making great money in medical. Why are you doing all these things? He always wanted to be an entrepreneur, but he didn't have all the aspects to become successful at it. He's very successful medically. My mom, super hard worker, German farmer, came from North Dakota. Her parents were farmers. Her grandparents were farmers. They had to make everything they made in money and just grew it out of the ground.
Right.
And so great work ethic from my mom, vision and idea and dreaming for my dad. But after I was selling this stuff on eBay, I was not touring at the time, didn't have any money, because outside of touring, I also had a side hustle of window washing, pressure washing, catching molds, any way I could make money. Some days I would be pressure washing a roof, make $800 in 3 hours. Some days I would be weeding for $8 an hour. Just any way to hustle and make money, including selling these screen printing kits on eBay.
Well, that answers one question I'm going to have later, is because you do a million things, like how you multitask with so many things that you're involved in. But it sounds like that started very early on.
Yeah, which is bad, I think. It's good and bad, because I never took the time in music to really to put in those 10,000 hours that you need, right? And it's like, man, if I would have just taken the time to do that, maybe we would have made it, just the looking at professional musicians and how much they practice and how it takes 10,000 hours. Knowing that in business now, it's the first time ever I've done it in life, But my dad, being this entrepreneur, he invites me to this. I wasn't touring. It was winter. It was crappy weather outside. It's just huge snowstorm. The whole city shut down. I had like $20 in my bank account. My dad's like, there's this internet marketing seminar coming to Portland, and they teach you how to sell stuff online. You should come to the seminar with me. I was like, that sounds like a horrible day, Dad. No. He's like, well, it's a pretty good deal. It's a big hotel downtown. They do it up, and I had to qualify and pay a couple $100 to get to this.
What was the name of the seminar?
It was called Stores Online.
Okay.
And they give you a plated,
And we're in 04, around 04 right now?
Yeah,
okay.
Beginning of 04. Plated free lunch. Okay, so you had me on the free lunch.
Say less.
Yeah. So we go there, and they're telling these stories about how these companies, got online, they drop ship stuff, and they're making money, and they don't have a job. I'm like, this resonates with all the things that I'm doing. And we meet with a sales consultant afterwards, and she's talking to me, and my dad's like, this guy sells screen printing stuff online. Maybe you could do that. I'm like, yeah, I could do that. And then she's like, tell me about your credit profile. I was like, oh yeah, I have like 8 credit cards. They're all maxed out. I just got a Guitar Center. We've got all new
And
gear.
I got $20 in the bank.
And then she immediately starts talking to my dad. She's like, he's like, I don't know, like $790. And I don't have any debt. We don't take credit card debt. I'm like, why isn't this lady paying attention to me? I have all the ideas. And she convinced my dad to buy this website package. We stayed 2 hours after the seminar closed because we had to call my mom. I think he slept on the couch for 2 days because she was pissed. He's like, going to throw all this money away. I'm the band dropout. I'm not going to college, and I had to promise my mom and promise my dad, if my dad does this, he's like, we're not paying for him to go to college. This could be our investment in his future. We'll buy him the websites. And then thank God he bought me the coaching package, because when you get coached in life, you follow up, somebody holds you accountable, whether you're working out or whether you're in business, whether you're playing sports.
So look, to have that type of support from your family, obviously your mom maybe wasn't as on board at the gate as your dad, but the fact that they invested in you and believed in you and took a risk, that must have felt incredible, right?
It feels incredible now. I totally took advantage of it at the time.
So you took it for granted at the time.
I took
You
it
didn't
for
realize
granted.
how special
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah, I mean, my parents, again, I was a college dropout. They're all masters or doctorates. I was playing in a band, had no money, and they always supported me, even though I wasn't going to their church anymore, even though I was not living the lifestyle they wanted. And I'm extremely grateful for it now, And so that really, and my mom, she had the work ethic. So no matter what I did, I always worked hard at it. And that's really, I got this website up, started selling these screen printing kits. I remember kind of just doing the back math in my head. One of the reasons why I wanted to do it, I just started dating my wife. I was like, she's probably going to need more than $20 to start a family. I was like, maybe I should do something in life. And so I was motivated by that and got this website up. And I said, if I could do $30,000 a month in sales, I could probably not wash windows anymore and have enough money to support a family. Because reverse out, the margins and stuff, I'd probably be making $10,000, That was we did $30,000 a month. The third month the website was live.
Third month.
Yeah.
And what do you attribute that kind of quick rise to success?
It was just no one was selling screen printing kits. We put everything you needed to screen print in a kit.
And you were early to the game just in general with websites. I mean, we're talking 2004.
Yeah, 2004.
It's
not the easiest to build a website, but it wasn't my idea was not to start a screen printing supply company. It was to start a website company. So I actually had 6 websites. The packages came in 6. So I had 6 websites. We got the screen printing one online, then we immediately got a website that's still in this industry being very successful called Shirt Space. They sell blank apparel online. We got I almost bought a T-Jet, which is a direct-to-garment printer. Almost bought one. Almost signed the note because we wanted to make a custom ink competitor.
Okay.
And at the end of the day, the interest rate was horrible, and I was like, I don't think this is the right thing to do. So we almost did that, but I had the website almost built, custom T-shirts, live, or I can't remember the domain name, an herbal supplement website, a drop shipping tool website. So we had 5 websites built, and the screen printing and the T-shirt one just started taking off. And this company, Stores Online, they're from Orem, Utah, and a bunch of great Mormon business people, they call me up and they're like, how's your website doing? I'm like, oh, I think we did $45,000 this month. They're like, what? How old are you? 24? We're doing okay. We want to teach you more. Come down and learn for us. So we go down here, we go to Snowbird, right up the mountains up here.
Okay.
We have a conference. I learned way more about internet marketing. And then I remember, just because I love being in a band, I love performing, I remember wanting to speak for them when they were at that conference, because they were just super professional. I remember hearing them we're getting a limo to the airport. I'm like, these guys drive around in limos. We eat great lunches, stay in nice hotels. This sounds like the life. And so at that conference, I wanted to speak for them. And so I kind of asked them, hey, what opportunity do I have to speak, for you guys? Like, well, maybe you could do like a session in the middle of the day where you could tell your story and how you've been successful, kind of like a testimonial.
Well, yeah, good case study. Hold up real quick, step back for 1 sec. When they called you, when you went to Snowbird, were they charging you for that
No,
service? Or this
it was
is just
free.
like,
They bought our plane
they're
tickets.
like, you're successful, we want to
Yep.
come mentor you more?
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
It's a really cool thing. And it's something that I've taken forward. That first trip, we'll get into Allmade later, but that first trip, I paid for 12 people to come to Haiti, with us. And if you invest in your customers, they will invest in you back. They become partners, not customers.
Yeah.
And I became a partner for them. And so they had a talk in Vegas. I go to Vegas to give a speech. We stayed up. My best friend Ryan, also named Ryan, won like 13 grand playing blackjack. He's an actor in LA. He's just going crazy. My other friend Jeff, who's at this conference and now runs Shirt Space, was there. He bought website packages. We're all on the high of like, this is so cool. And then I remember at the back of the room listening to this guy break down pay-per-click advertising and how if you're spending $5 but you're getting $100 back, you should do that all the time. I was like, wait a minute, that's what we're doing. And so I was like, what do you mean? If I just take my ad budget from like 25 grand a month to like 50 grand a month, I can like grow. So that month we did 70 grand. The next month we did 150 grand. The month after that we did 300 grand. The month after that we did 400 grand. The month after that we did 800 grand. So we went from that conference, the first year in business, we did 230,000. Second year in business, we did 4 million.
Holy shit, that's
Third
awesome.
year, we did 8 million. And it was all based off of pay-per-click marketing and what I learned from them.
So obviously, you guys really honed in on the marketing. You're early in the game, so you're crushing it with search terms and all of that. Was there challenges? Because that's a pretty quick growing process. Were there challenges keeping up with the operation side of the business as revenue was kind of moving so fast?
A lot of entrepreneurs run into the challenge of not wanting to give up the reins, not wanting to hire people. And I think the music industry taught me that you cannot do things solo. You have to have a team, you have to have a band around you. You're not a solo artist. And so I never had a problem hiring people. It was all about like, the first person I hired was our roadie, and the second person I hired was our drummer, who I hated. I didn't hate him.
Get the band back together.
I did not hate him, but like he was the laziest. He didn't print one shirt. He didn't drive on tour. And our band was like, he's like, I could come work with you. I'm like, dude, you're like the lead. Like, he's like, no, I like what you're doing. I'm a hard worker. I just didn't like printing t-shirts. Like, okay, and he turned into purchasing, and he's in this industry still, And so, but that wasn't the challenge. I think you do in business have to have some kind of challenge. My challenge came from outside of the space. It came from in January, right after I go to that Las Vegas thing and do that speech, and right after that, we're a year in business. It's a year after I bought the websites. I get a call. I'm at work. We rented this house and we're kind of working in the shop and working in this barn. We got internet wires all over, packing stuff, UPS trucks coming. I remember being at work and I got a call from my dad, and he's like, I was in the driveway, I went outside, I took the call because the guys were playing music. We had like 5 people at the time. And I walked outside and he's like, your brother was just killed in a car wreck. I was like, what? You gotta be kidding. Like this
Jesus
is...
Christ.
And his name is Brandon, so I have this tattoo here. And it's January 31st, 2005. And so, and all the guys came out and they're like, Ryan, what's wrong? I'm like, dude, my brother's, And that really was I remember like talking to people in this industry and having, close clients, you go through loss like that and you're in like a fog for 1 to 2 years. And so, that growth phase was during that fog. I went on the road. My band broke up. I went on the road with the Stores Online company and just put myself into learning and everything, because of that's all I knew how to do. And it wasn't about a year after that I really started to process it. We were successful, but I started to process. I started to started to like read a lot of his writings and stuff, and I found a letter that he wrote about me. Because I was really hard on him. I was the oldest kid, he was the second. And growing up, like, I just found this out, like, his 8th grade teacher, like, I was so hard on him. And I have 3 boys now, and my 2 oldest twins are hard on my youngest. His 8th grade teacher thought he was abused. Like, that's how hard I was on him. And I was just, like, super hard on him because my parents didn't have a lot of money. Like, I remember going and seeing my dad's checkbook and be like minus $2,000. Like, Dad, how do you have minus $2,000 in your checking account? And he's like, you just like, it's not really that. Like, and so and my brother was younger. He didn't know. So I just like, why are you spending money on this? Why are you doing, And
So you're being hard on him, but it's all coming from a good place.
It's coming from a good place, but not. I was just insecure and just kind of pushing it out on him. Once I started driving and playing music, I just went on and did my own thing. And so fortunately, he had great mentors in high school, and he turned out to be such an awesome guy. And I mean, we still hear stories like how he impacted lives. Like,
So what did the letter say?
Well, one of the last songs I wrote, because I didn't write songs towards the end of the band, but one of the last songs I wrote was on one of our full lengths called "Chasing the Impossible," and it was about a dream and how you're chasing this dream, and you say like the letters, the lyrics were like, I can't hear them say it's impossible. I can't hear them say it's absurd. I can't hear them say it's untouchable because I know it's somewhere out there. So it's about chasing a dream, and he's listening to me playing that song, writing that song from our rooms right across each other. He was super religious, so he's like, Ryan just doesn't know that it's not about him. It's about helping other people. And so his whole life was about helping other people. And he did it through God. And I just read that, and I was like, there's got to be more. There's got to be something more to business and what I'm doing than just making money, And that's what helped me to find like purpose in building a team and investing in your team, helping customers be successful, seeing them being able to hire people. And it was really impactful. So yeah, this podcast is like called Raising the Stakes, and that raised the stakes for me for sure. And his every day still.
It's beautiful, man.
Yeah, you told me you were going to get me to cry.
Said you cry if you want to, but it might happen.
Oh, man. Yeah, so.
I mean, you're going to get me to cry, so we're even here. So obviously, like, I can't even imagine. You know how much my brother means to me, so I can't even imagine. You have this, like, the unthinkable of awful things happen, but at the same time, your business is skyrocketing.
Mm-hmm.
Were you even able to enjoy any bit of the moment of your success, or was it so overshadowed by kind of the loss?
Well, it was, I honestly don't remember the time frame, but it was, I said a year, but it might have been 2 or 3 years. I was just all in. I was enjoying traveling, flying first class, sleeping in nice hotels, taking my wife, sleeping in nice hotels, taking my wife on trips, having money. Like, when you're growing so fast, I didn't even know what a P&L was for 2 years. Like, we were buying businesses. I bought a business for $1 million once, cash. Like, just because you have such good positive cash flow. And so that was fun for me. I loved working with my friends. I didn't love the industry. I didn't even know about the industry. we would go to trade shows like these guys are a bunch of dorks, like this is not punk rock.
Right.
But our group, I was able to hire a really cool group of people, and we established some really cool core values as a company, and it was really the recession of 2008 and 2009 was really when our growth curve stopped. And I just paused for a second and just said, wow. Because somebody called us and they gave us an LOI on our company. And I was like, well, I could retire and never work again. But then what do I do? And I looked out at the customers that we'd helped be successful, and the cool parts about this industry. The power of a t-shirt is freaking awesome, man. Like, I love music. Obviously, that's where I came from. My favorite band in the world was MXPX. Mike Herrera. He's a rock star. Oh, he's the second favorite. My favorite band in the world was the Goo Goo Dolls. So I would throw CDs at him, try to, like, listen, take us on tour with you.
I like how you said punk rock, and then you went to your favorite bands, the Goo Goo Dolls. I don't
They
want
were
to skip
punk
over
rock.
that.
They were punk rock.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah. So in 2008, the music industry just got disrupted. MXPX lost they played the Super Bowl commercial in 2004. They were huge. And he had a side band called Tumbledown. Plays a show in Portland. There's 50 people there. Took my wife, took my brother-in-law. We're having a blast. Like, go talk to him afterwards. Go to the merch table, talk to him. Like, I don't know what to say. This is my idol.
That's kind of weird, because you always seem to know what to say.
Yeah. So I go up to the merch table. I'm like, hey, Mike, I'm Ryan. And he's like, hey, thanks so much for coming, supporting us, supporting the band. I'm like, yeah, I've been listening to you forever. And what do I say? T-shirts, huh? I'm like, T-shirts, that's cool. Sure. He's like, oh, yeah, like me and my mom print those. I'm like, no way. You print T-shirts? Yeah, we print T-shirts. I'm like, I got to ask you, where do you get your stuff from? How did you learn how to do it? He's like, this company called Ryonet.
Oh, man, that must have been like
and I was
the
like,
epic life moment.
That's me. That's me. And so I've got to know him, got to be pretty decent friends with him. He's super successful in touring all over the place again. But we've had him play at shows, and I wrote for my 40th birthday, wrote a song together. And so
That's awesome.
That's when I knew that T-shirts and this industry could take you anywhere you want.
Which moment was better? The moment where he said he had bought the equipment from you, or writing the song with him?
Definitely the first moment. Yeah, because it was just like, that's when it clicked. It's like, you can do anything in the world. Like, this is such a cool industry. The people that we get to work with, the places that, the value of a T-shirt is way more than money. Because it has meaning, it has, you wear it, put a cause on it, you wear it inside and out. So
it's an extension of your identity. Whether it's the cause you're supporting, the bands you like, it is your way of saying to the world who you are to some extent. Yeah.
And I realized that after that, this all happened around the same time, and it's like, this is an awesome industry. It's where I'm going to spend the rest of my life in. And so after that, we went all in. My wife got pregnant. She actually.
So you didn't take the LOI?
No, yeah.
And did you ever have any regret not taking the LOI?
No.
Awesome.
Never, yeah. Never good. I don't think you can have regrets, because they're just lessons. So.
I tell my kids that all the time.
Yeah.
I tell them you don't learn from the wins. And I think that oftentimes I meet young entrepreneurs, and they say, I just don't know if I have what it takes. Like, you must have this tribal knowledge. And I'm like, no, you just have to have a strong face, because you're going to fall on it over and over again.
Yeah.
Strong face. And you have to be just smart enough to learn from your mistakes, because that's, I think, just life in general. Like, we don't learn from our wins, we learn from our failures, and that's not going to happen to me again. Well, I'm still going to fall on my face again, but it's going to be something new, and I just keep learning it, right? And I think that's why grit is so important. It's also
So important.
part of why I want to do this podcast, because I think people see success without context and they think that, oh, it was just easy for you the whole way. It's like, no, I'm still falling on my face just as much as you are, right?
Yeah.
So
I love raising the stakes, because if you don't raise the stakes, if you don't put a bigger goal out there, if you don't put it on the line, you don't understand the grit. You don't understand the hustle, because if you have tons of cash in the bank and you're living life, you have no worries in the world, you're not hungry anymore. You know,
stay hungry.
You got to stay hungry. And that Steve Jobs quote from the back of the magazine, like, stay hungry, stay foolish. And I really started to understand this. Like, being foolish makes you hungry. You know, we don't think it's foolish, but people might look at it like, why is he starting Allmade Apparel? It's foolish. He's got a $50 million a year screen printing company. You know, he's gonna lose his ass. Foolish. Fucking made me hungry, right? So you have to continue to put yourselves in those situations, because we have an easy life. We live in a great country. You know, we have so many opportunities that 99% of the rest of the world does not have. And we got to take advantage of that. But so many people take that for granted. Our humans are capable of so much more, we just don't know how to tap into it. And so putting yourselves in the situation to see what you're capable of, what your team's capable of, with other people, how you can come together and work together, that's when magic happens.
That's beautiful. We obviously bonded on sort of disability inclusion out the gate, and doing a lot of speaking about that. And I always talk about how, we put people in a box and what we think they're, able to do. And, my brother, for example, just knocked down every sort of expectation and continues to do that on a regular basis. But I always say when I'm doing these speeches, we do it to ourselves too. Mm-hmm. And I love what you just said there. Like, no matter what you think you can accomplish more. And really, it's the fear that you can't that is what's holding you back. You just have to believe in yourself and be okay falling on your face.
Yep.
So going back, your wife gets pregnant.
She got pregnant, and that's when I put the next piece together, which was, I remember getting this Tony Robbins book. I wasn't reading a lot. I just literally vodka Red Bulls till 3 o'clock in the morning, building websites, internet marketing, trying to just grow, and have this realization of t-shirts are awesome. This is a cool industry. Have this thing with my brother of reading these letters and just realizing that looking for something more, and then getting kids is I should probably start working on myself. I don't know. I read this book from Tony Robbins called Get the Edge, and 7 days to success. Day 1 is focus on yourself. Wait a minute. Focus on myself? That's selfish. It's no, if you focus on yourself, you're able to give so much more out to other people. You think it's selfish, but it's put your own life reserve. Put the oxygen on yourself first, because if you're dead, you're not helping anyone else. And so first thing, started every day with a run, go on a mile run, or a walk, start with running, walk, get healthy. So it's 7 days to success. And it really so I started doing that and started reading and joined a really cool organization called Vistage, became part of a mentorship group. And that just really taught so much about business and resources and getting more connected in the industry, using the teams of your vendors and your clients, coming together and working together as partners. So that was a journey to understanding, to enlightenment of being the best you, making the best team, that you can give more to your customers and give more to the industry as a whole.
Okay, so what year are we in right now?
So that was 2009. We had kids. At that point in time, we were about, I think, 50 or 60 people, doing about 12 million in revenue. And then the next year, all that investment, just rocketed us into 20 million. And we started this crazy growth trend again. I think that was the year 2009 to 2010 was the year we did the most year-over-year growth revenue.
Just coming out of the recession, just right back at it.
Yeah. So, and then it was learning how to run a business and how to brand and the importance of a brand and the importance of a team, importance of core values as a team. And that's when we hired Jesse through that kind of time frame. Is like we really tried to work on our team, our culture, our values, and it went from like improving your. It was the same thing. Like us as a company, we need to put our life preserver on first. And one of our team members, we got approached from a local service provider, Trillium, who we still work with today, about hiring for like just a couple hours a day. Jesse was severely impacted by autism, and I was like, yeah, okay. I remember like, what's he gonna do? It's like not being like super like driven to do it, but not being. I mean, like just empowering this team member wants to bring somebody in, so let's empower them to do that and see what happens. And he was super shy and like didn't want to talk to anyone, but he started to like kind of crush on all the girls in the front. And they're like, all right, you should have Jesse do a video, teach him how to screen print a shirt. And so we did a ton of videos on YouTube and stuff like that.
Yeah, they were awesome.
Yeah,
you should check them out if you haven't seen them.
And the video of Jesse screen printing a shirt is still on there. And he like, we do this video on screen, just like high five. And he's like, this is awesome. And then seeing that like progress him and like what that did for our team to support him and him to support us. And then seeing his success, he lives on his own now. He's getting married. He told me he's getting engaged on the 23rd of,
that's awesome.
26th of May. He's like, he's already got the date picked. I'm getting engaged.
That's awesome.
And so it's been cool but that was the next phase of like investing in your business, building a team, building a culture that can do some really cool stuff.
So then when did Allmade come about?
So through that we brought in Rock. You mentioned Rock earlier. We brought that in with some help of my partner Bobby from Canada to the US, and invested a lot in systems, NetSuite, and bought the Riley Hopkins press. I learned how to print, bought his company out.
That's pretty cool.
That was like a really cool full circle moment. Like I still have the high school Riley Hopkins press sitting in our museum, and now we build them downstairs and with our laser equipment.
Super cool.
And continue to grow. And then the t-shirt thing was like, first of all, I never loved t-shirts until I realized that Mike Herrera printed t-shirts. I was like, this is cool. And then also I learned how to, we started selling a lot of water-based ink around the time, and like just learning how to print better, more eco-friendly. One of my screen printing mentors through that time he had a really bad chemical burns from back in the day when they used to not use eco-friendly chemicals. He had a whole drum of screen print chemicals spill on him, and he always had issues. And so he actually died as a complication of those issues. Jeez. So it was very important for us to push forward the industry in eco-friendly practices, in not using bad chemistry, not using screen openers, not using nasty solvents. And so that was kind of in the mind, and then making better quality prints. We started working with great, American Apparel was the first company that we worked with, and they made great t-shirts, and Bella Canvas and Next Level. And like, if you have a great canvas, you know what you're doing on the printing side, the shirt's gonna last longer, So everyone asks, like, why don't you guys create your own shirts? Like, well, we're ink slingers. We make equipment. This is not our thing. And plus, I'm pretty sure it costs a lot of money to make your own apparel line. And I was at a trade show in 2016, and I was given a speech at the show because I wanted to rile everyone up. It was the biggest show I'd ever done. We got people from Europe, people from Mexico, all the Rock team there, customers there helping. It's like, let's get everyone riled up. The power of a t-shirt. It's not my opening talk, power of a t-shirt. Like, we might think we're just helping people sling t-shirts, What big is that? Who cares about another t-shirt? Who needs another t-shirt? Raise your hand, said no one ever, right? But you know what you're really doing is when you give that person when you sell that person that automatic press today, you're giving their team a better job. You're helping their company grow so they can hire more people, so they can send their kids to college. And then when that person learns the craft, they might go in and start their own business, you know? They get to create art. So this is not just about a t-shirt. This is about economy. This is about job creation. This is about
livelihoods for people.
making people's dreams come true. Putting art out there in the world, putting movements out there in the world. Yeah, t-shirts don't cure cancer, but guess what raises money to cure cancer?
Sure do.
I mean, you know, every October, what are you printing in your shop?
Yeah, a lot of pink shirts.
Yeah. So that's what we're doing here today. And so, most successful show we'd ever had. At the end of the first day, this guy is like, my voice is hoarse, like kind of right now. And he's just waiting to talk to me. He's waiting to talk to me. He's like, okay, I'll talk to you. Like, finally the show's closed. Comes up to me and he hands me this t-shirt. And he's like, Ryan, thank you so much for talking. I've been waiting all day to talk to you. Thanks for taking 5 minutes. I'm like, sure, 5 minutes. Like, you know, the name of our project, or it's a nonprofit called the Global Orphan Project, and we go all around the world and start orphanages until we realized that in Haiti, where we have the most orphanages, these orphans have families. They just don't have the money to take care of them. And when you see a mom come and drop her kid off and the kid crying because he's being ripped away from his mother.
His mom can't afford to take
Can't afford. It's either like give your kid up so they can eat or your kid starves. And meanwhile, we're over here, the Global Orphan Project. We're raising money. We're putting ads out, making people cry. Sponsor a kid. You're sponsoring that kid to be ripped away from his mom. You know, it's a vicious cycle. So we changed our mission. We changed our mission at Global Orphan Project from orphan care to orphan prevention through job creation. And we tried all these things. We tried taxi cabs. We tried, you know, microloans. None of it stuck. But we figured out if we could make t-shirts and pay people a living wage to make those t-shirts, then we could train the kids. Also, we'd have a school that taught people to sew. And there's this huge need for, you know, apparel. But we can't sell enough of it. You sell presses and inks all over the world. Could you help us sell more t-shirts so we could help orphan kids from not being orphaned? And I'm like, well, I just gave the talk. You know, how a t-shirt can change the world. So I got to say, at least learn more. So he flies up to watch it. I'm trying to dive into the economics. It's not making sense. Like, where's the fabric from? Oh, we get the fabric from India. Like, well, where are they making? And finally, one of their job creation projects is a screen printing shop in Kansas City called GoX. And they had some old equipment. They were looking at getting some new equipment. And so I was like, I'll make you a deal. If you can get your board to buy a rock press, I'll go to Haiti with you to see your project and see what it's all about. And so he watched the board. He's like, I know, you're used to M&R presses, but if we do this, I think it's a better press, but if we do this, we can get this really big player in this industry to come see what we're all about. So they did it. And I followed up, booked a trip, and I knew, like, when I do something, I don't go half in. I dive head first in.
all gas, no brakes.
And so I knew it was going to be a thing for my family. So I knew my wife would need to be on board and my kids would want to be on board. And at the time our twins were 5 or 6. And so I took them with me. And it was the first time we'd ever been out of the U.S. We've been to Mexico. I went on some mission trips, saw some slums, But Haiti was insane, First of all, you smell it as soon as you get off the plane. Burning tires, rotting food, no sanitation. And then you just go, people are living in, it's crazy. And then you go to these orphanages and these kids are so excited to see you and they're I got pictures of like my kids playing with them. They don't know the colors. They don't know. They're playing soccer. They're having a great time. And then you go to this factory and you see these young kids learning how to sew, and you see them getting a job, and you realize that that shirt that they're making has the power to change this kid's life and then prevent the next kid from showing up. And then I was like just sitting there thinking, like, you know, this is a Christian nonprofit, and I've always had this, like, ever since my brother, I realized, like, there's got to be something more. And we'd done all the team stuff, and we knew this was awesome. We'd helped so many people, but it was so like close to home. It's so like, you know, we're so lucky, right? And then I'm sitting there with the CEO of Global Orphan Project. We're on this roof. We're having a couple beers, kind of decompressing the trip. It's like, Joe, I just don't know how to start. Like, where do you start? Like, how much money do we need? Like, how are we going to go get customers? He's like, Ryan, let me tell you a story. He's telling me this story about, because Haiti is a crazy place. They're the first country to win their independence from slavery, but it's a slave country, you know. And they've had such a hard time. When they won their independence from France, France immediately gave them a note, which in today's dollars is like $80 billion, and said, you have to pay us back or we're going to come destroy your country. So they've been indentured and enslaved the entire time. And so he's like, but talking about why this country exists and the push towards being a free world, the first country to abolish slavery, the first world country to abolish slavery was England. And you know who did it? 12 print shops got together. And they had the means. They didn't have money, but they had a means to get out what slavery was doing to people in the world and how people were being killed. And the average lifespan of a slave in Haiti was about 8 months once they showed off the boat. You know, just turning people. Horrible. And 12 print shops changed the world. And then, like, wait a minute. 12 print shops changed the world. Like, I guess I'm going to find 12 print shops to start this apparel company.
That's awesome.
And so that was like, this big idea came down to like 12. And I think one of the advices I give to a lot of our customers or people, entrepreneurs that have ideas is, hey, you need to go sell something to 12 people, 15 people. And if you got 12 out of 15 that say yes, you got a good idea. If 1 out of 15 say yes, you should go back to the drawing board. And so that was my first goal, is like, come to Haiti with us. We'll pay for your trip, but you got to leave. You got to go get all these shots. You got to take malaria pills, and you're going to leave 2 weeks before Christmas, because that's when we had to do it. And the first person I told was Brett, now my partner at Allmade Lab. And he's like, we're at a trade show. We just saw the Goo Goo Dolls play. And we're on the way back to the airport. I told him about this trip, and I said, so I think I'm going to try to get 12 people to come to Haiti with me. And what do you think? He's like, I'm in. I'm like, oh, okay. There's one.
1 of 1.
And then Mel was the next person I talked to. I wanted a diverse, you talk about inclusion, I wanted a diverse group of people. I didn't want a bunch of, because our industry is a bunch of white guys.
Old white dudes.
And that, that stems from the cotton industry being a bunch of white guys, which stems to like back to that whole story of circle of slavery, And so it's like, no, I wanted this to be about new things. So I wanted to get an LGBTQ shop and a woman-owned shops and people from Hawaii and Alaska and all in the South and the North and the East and the West. And so it was really more about putting a group of unique individuals together to come. And so I pitched 15, 12 said yes, and 3 months we were all in Haiti. It's like we call it the real world of Haiti and screen printers. And they named it, they came up with the logo. Dom from Superior Inc. named Allmade Apparel, came up with the word. Nothing was clicking, And he said, what about Allmade? I'm like, oh, we all made it. Sweet. Is it open? Can we buy it? We bought the domain for like $5,000. Trademarked it. One of our, the LGBTQ Mike Kahn, he runs a gay shop in Columbus, came up with the logo. He's won awards for this logo. So it was really a ground up movement. to build this T-shirt. And we go to Haiti. We're all about orphan care. That's definitely one of our pillars. We got to take care of people. We got to give people living wage jobs. And then one of our founders was an environmentalist, and he gives us whole presentation, like this little tiny room, tiny screen, about how T-shirts like kill the world and use all this water and all this chemistry. And Brett just immediately slams up. He's like, bro, like, I'm from Texas. I don't know if you know, but we eat oil, and beef. Or no, we eat beef and we raise oil. Like, I'm the least environmentally friendly guy here. But we're like, well, if we can make the shirt better, we better make it all around better. We better make it better to print. We better make it better for people that are making it. We better make it better for the environment. So those are our tenets. And we decided to use organic materials and found this fiber called modal, which is a super soft antimicrobial fiber that uses 6% of the water that cotton uses, but it happens to be just amazing to wear too, amazing to print. And so built it up from the ground and started that. But at that time, that year, our company was the biggest. We were just shy of 50 million in revenue, and we had 130 people. And that year, half my executive team quit because they thought I was crazy.
For starting Allmade.
Yeah. They thought that I was going to run the company out of money. I shouldn't do it. People in the industry said, shouldn't do it. I was like, no, we can do this. We got this. We got this. And we started taking people to Haiti. We started getting more screen printers and decorators involved. And it took a year to build the first shirt. From the first trip to the first container landing and getting it shipped out was a year. And then we had to ramp up the factory. So this factory's ramping up. We're funding it. We go to our bank. We get a bigger line of credit. And, we're using our cash. We're getting some people. We raised a couple $100,000 on a GoFundMe campaign. And then all of a sudden we have all these shirts. We're running out of money. We don't have enough customers. So we're like, oh crap, we gotta go to customers. Then I learned about the ASI world. Go to the first ASI show on PPAI and start selling it to promotional products companies displaying there. And then all of a sudden now we're out of T-shirts. So we went
They love the messaging, sustainable.
It was
giving back.
Like we're getting customers like crazy, and we ran out of T-shirts. Like, oh no, we got to go down. But when you're selling T-shirts, you're basically investing in buying that cotton and that T-shirt about 18 to 24 months before you get the return on that investment. So to grow from $1 million to $2 million in sales, to $2 to $4 million, because we did $1 million in the T-shirt pretty quickly. But you need to invest. Your margins are like 25%. So you need $1.5 million to create that $2 million of T-shirts. To make that 2 to 4, now you need $3 million. So we're on a growth trend. We're like, oh, we're going to go $6 million. We need $4.5 million to go do that. So we're ordering the fabric. We're doing all the things. And then we had way too many T-shirts again. It was like this whole thing. And we're running out of money, because we're having to pay these fabric bills. So I remember very vividly in 2018, going to Haiti, knowing that we were running out of money. My executive team just changed over. I think the last person from the executive team was our CFO quit, who was a shareholder. I hired a turnaround CFO. She came in. She's like, Ryan, you're literally, you know what bankruptcy is? You know what cash liquidity is? You know what banks calling your nose? It's not going to happen. No, you got to be careful. It could happen. I remember that kind of weighing on me. We're going to have to scale this back a little bit maybe. We owe this bank all this money. We owe these vendors all this money. And I go to this Haiti factory. Conan O'Brien's there. He did a show from our Haiti factory about this living wage job creation. And we put an Allmade sign up in the Conan O'Brien segments. I go in and I see the entire factory making Allmade. And I'm like, I thought you guys had other customers, They're like, no. We went all in on you. Allmade, all in. We have 2 weeks of cash left. This is not going to go well. This is bad. And we knew that we were at that point in time, my CFO sat us down. I got back from that trip. It was August. She sat me down. She's like, okay, you have literally 2 weeks of cash left. You got to do something. I recommend you start selling real estate. And I had 9 pieces of real estate at the time. So we just started selling real estate. We sold our building, started to try to fund it back in. And even then, it wasn't enough cash to keep the thing afloat. We had to ramp down production. The next trip that we took to Haiti, we literally walked in the factory. We didn't have the money to buy fabric to fill the factory up, so no one was working, And it was super, super humbling. But there was through that, like, it taught me a lot about faith and a lot about doing the right thing and knowing something's going to come through, and a lot about grace, because we had this huge mission, and I knew it was going to work out, but it came so close to not working out so many times. There's one time where we're literally out of money. Our fabric guy's like, "You literally have screwed me," like just yelling at me on the phone, like, "You were in Haiti with us. We took you to Haiti. Like, we're doing all these things. Like, I can't pay my people. Like, you have to pay me $400,000 right now." And that year, I never lost money in business. That year, our CFO had done a consolidation. She wrote off a bunch of debt, and she's like, "Ryan, you're going to lose a lot of money this year." I'm like, "Okay, how much?" Like, "A lot." I'm like, "Well, I can't be that. $2 million. Like, okay. So she recapped the company. We took a huge loss. I'm like, go into my CFO's office, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. I go outside. I say a quick prayer. I walk back in. I'm like, maybe I can go take a mortgage on my house or something. I get a ping on my phone. It's my bank. Guess what happens when you lose money and you've been successful for 14 years? You get tax refunds. I didn't know it was coming. $400,000 tax refund hitting my bank account. I'm like,
I'm back.
I guess I know what we're doing with this. But literally, like, it was crazy.
That close.
That
People not in business do not know how thin the line is between bankruptcy and success throughout the journey. Mm-hmm. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah, I think that is. But again, that keeps you super hungry. Keeps
Sure.
You're calling, you're hustling. I remember I was tracking that year how many hours I was working a week, and it was 88 hours a week. 88 to 96 hours a week I was working, and so it was, I just saw Samar walk in, but we knew we couldn't do this alone. We had to go get a partner. And so we had to get distribution. We had offers for Alpha Broder. We never got a chance to talk to S&S. These are the biggest players. And we talked to Samar. A guy named Jason Murphy that worked there got me a meeting with Jeremy Lott. I go up to Seattle. I was like, I got the pitch of my lifetime. They're going to be our distributor. This is going to be awesome. And I give the pitch. I show up like at 5:30 in the morning. I didn't want to hit traffic. Work out, run the hill, ready to go. "Jeremy, Allmade mission, all this good stuff. You could help us out, decorators." He's like, "I love the story, love the brand. Could fit our product line, but we don't distribute." I don't know if you know about Samar, but like we kind of make our own stuff. I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool." And he's like, "Yeah, so no, we wouldn't do this, but we would buy you." And like, yeah, we're not for sale. I can literally have a tattoo. Like, this is a community growth thing. But that year, that next kind of iteration of me and the business journey and our businesses the theme was partnership. And I'm like, wait a minute, like, I didn't start this on my own. I didn't start this to get rich. I'm obviously not rich, And I started this to do something bigger. And I did it with a group of people. This is not about us. Like, we won't sell, but we'll partner. We'll become your partner. And we don't have to own the whole thing, but you guys can. And Renton, who now runs our factories, our collective factories with Samar down in Honduras, he took it and ran with it. He's like, Renton?
Of course.
And he's like, this is an idea guy. He's like, dude, we can put this together. He put the whole concept together of this thing. And so that the brand Allmade's jointly owned by Samar and Allmade, and our founders are all still involved.
So your 13th partner.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Yep.
Lucky 13.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and they've been a great partner. So, but it just goes to show, I think, going back to, finding a purpose, doing things for more than just growth and revenue, building a team culture, and extending outside of that and creating true partnerships, is really what it takes to make it the distance in business, to raise the stakes, if you will.
Yeah, well, your dedication to service and helping people and this industry and bringing it together is quite remarkable. I know your brother would be proud of you. I know I'm proud to have you as my friend. So one thing I like to do at the end of each show is, because the purpose of this show is to put spotlights on other people that are doing good at this business, the way that people have helped put a spotlight on me with disability inclusion. So I want to give you the opportunity to put a spotlight on somebody else in the print industry who you think is doing really good, that should be potentially a guest on the show, or just somebody who you want to recognize that you look up to for their service.
I love that question. It's like paying it forward, So we got a chance to do it. You were a part of this incredible panel.
Yeah.
And
thank you for having me.
That was awesome. I was literally in that front seat just crying. And I think the person I want to highlight out of that panel was, her name's Allmade Apparel. And I got to meet her through this industry right after she went through a loss of her husband. I didn't meet her before that. And she started this shop after that as part of a way to being able to spend more time with her daughters. And so she became a rock customer. And I love that business, because when you invest in us, we invest in you back. It's like buying a piece of equipment is a big deal, So typically more expensive than your car, and sometimes a house. And so it creates really strong relationships. And so what she's doing with the fact she runs the sailing thing, the fact that she said something today that really caught me, is like 6 people that they take these veterans sailing, and 6 people that they get a chance to put this t-shirt on, become a part of a team, learn a new skill, and know that there's people that care about them and that's there for them. 6 people have said that they were going to take their own life, 6 veterans, because what they go through in the service of our country, and they don't ask to be put in that situation. A lot of them don't have another option to go to the military. Some of them want to go, no matter why they're doing it. It's just so incredible, that sacrifice, the ultimate sacrifice.
Yeah, I mean, her husband being, one of the fallen heroes, and to take that devastating moment in life to be an inspiration to start a business that can then also help support veterans, and then also really getting her kids involved. It was a beautiful story. Her speaking before me, I was like, oh shit, man. Now I'm crying. I got to talk up here.
Yeah.
I mean, it was very real. And another cool thing about her as well, she also has employees with disabilities.
Yeah.
So that's actually how I met her the first time.
Yeah, that's so cool.
It's super cool. So,
I mean, if you do good, and it's something that you're highlighting in part of this podcast is just doing good. It resonates throughout your business. Your team comes and goes on to do other things. We have so many team members that now have people with disabilities, or have gone to work for, companies that now have their own give back program or their own mission. And it's a ripple effect.
It sure is.
So I'd love to highlight her, and I'd love to see where this podcast goes, what you're doing here. And I can't wait to read your book.
Well,
it's going to be great.
Well,
I'm going to listen to it, though.
Yeah. Well, we had a gentleman with autism who's doing the audiobook, so he's 1 chapter left. So
what's his name?
It'll be in the credits.
It's a surprise.
Yeah, it'll be a surprise.
That's awesome.
But he's going to get credit for everything. So we're going to. Thank you very much for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for doing this.
Thank you for being my friend.
Yeah.
Thank you for everything that you do for the print community. Thank you for everything that you're doing for the communities in Haiti and Honduras. It's really a beautiful story.
Awesome.
And thank you guys for joining us. Hopefully you were inspired, you learned something, and hopefully you can find your mission on how you can give back as well. See you next episode.
Been through struggles, had to conquer them all. We rise and give back to answer the call. impact, we're raising the stakes.
This episode of Raising the Stakes was brought to you by Cornate Connections, bringing the print industry together for a higher purpose.